What's going on, everyone? So this season is going to be very interesting for Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Now, Jimmy Butler is on his last year of his contract. Now, he could opt into a player option next year at $52 million, but based on reports that are circulating, Jimmy Butler is fully expected to enter free agency and try to get a new deal, right? It's kind of just the age, right? He's going to be 35 this year. Rather than opting in and getting $52 million at 36, can he go and get, a 4-year or 3-year, $120 million deal where he's getting just more guaranteed money long term, rather than he gets $52 million, but now he's 36, something happens, and, now he's going into 37, a free agent, but teams only want to give him $15 million or something. Just, you see it a lot with the older players, kind of trying to get the money, trying to stretch out the contract, get the better contract now. I mean, you even saw guys like Clay and DeMar DeRozan, rather than taking less money, working out sign and trade deals in order to land where they want to go, to maximize and get the most money possible. But that also begs the question, if you're Miami, do you end up trading Jimmy Butler this season? Now, I think it depends on where Miami kind of falls, right? Like, if Miami is good and they're in the top 4 as far as seeding and stuff goes, then I think that they'll kind of just ride it out with Jimmy Butler. But if you are what you have been the last 2 years, which is a play-in team, now, to Miami's credit, they were a play-in team and ended up still getting to the NBA Finals, but it's just if you're a play-in team every year, it's just such an uphill battle and climb. You're almost better off if you're Miami just kind of hitting the reset button and kind of just starting a rebuild, right? You have Bam Adebayo, you could keep Bam. You could look to trade him too if you wanted to, if you just really wanted to hit a full reset button. But he's also still, young, right? He's still young enough to where, if you can kind of retool for a couple seasons, you're in the right spot. But you do have, Jaime Jaquez, who is kind of a nice young player, Highsmith, right? You got a couple nice young guys, Jovic, that you can kind of use as your foundation to kind of grow and build going forward. Or maybe you look to go add that other star. We'll see. Time will tell. But what team is actually going to make a push for Jimmy Butler, I think, is the biggest question. Where would he end up? One, not a lot of teams are going to have, contending teams are going to have real salary for free agency. And, what teams would he want to go to? Now, based on reports, the Brooklyn Nets seem to be a team that Jimmy is really interested in going to, and the Nets would be interested in signing Jimmy Butler. But even then, it's okay, well, if you do that, then what else? And he just traded Mikal Bridges, right? So it's what? Now you're going to bring in an aged all-star player? And I like Jimmy Butler, don't get me wrong, but it's just also his biggest concern is he just doesn't really seem to take the regular season serious, right? He's kind of just really nonchalant about the regular season. I mean, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy is, I know Jimmy Butler tries to pretend like it's not, but there clearly is. I mean, the evidence is there. Jimmy Butler in the regular season is not the same Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. And at times he doesn't even look serious. I mean, he was getting called out for it last season. That just the lack of urgency for the regular season. And it's just I get the confidence that hey, we can beat anybody, but it would be nice to not have to be a play-in team every year. It would be nice to actually, have home court at least a game and not have to make it the hardest path possible, right? That would go a long way. But, I mean, you got teams that the Clippers would probably, be a candidate, that they're going to be in the conversation. Do a team like the Knicks, do they maybe look to flip Julius Randle and maybe move OG to the 4? That could be interesting, right? Where you go Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Jimmy Butler, OG Anunoby, and then Mitchell Robinson. You'd be the best defensive team in the league, that's for sure. So the Knicks could be an interesting candidate. I think if Jimmy Butler wants to win, it's the Knicks, right? If you want to try to win a championship immediately, you go to the Knicks. Because him, like I said, that starting 5 would be ridiculous, right? Again, and you'd still have like Josh Hart and DiVincenzo and stuff off the bench. I mean, seriously, like, could you imagine a starting five of, because again, you got to remember, Mikal Bridges is expected to take a discount, right? So, and you could work something out to where, maybe he opts into his deal and you try to do some trade or something. Like, I don't know. It's just, but just the thought of Bridges, uh, Brunson, Bridges, Butler, OG, and Robinson. Oh my God. Um, it's just offensively, how does that work? Right? Like, would they be able to make it mesh? But defensively, and especially out on the perimeter, whoo, I mean, you basically have the perfect team to put alongside Brunson at that point. Because you basically have your 2 through 4 can essentially switch on all 5 guys if you needed to. But, Jimmy Butler, he's that, like, he's one of those players that are just so hard to gauge. Because I don't think he works anywhere. I don't think he makes sense on any team, right? Like, I think, like, if you put him on the right team in the right situation, yes, I think it'd be good, right? Like a team like the Warriors, right? Would like him and Steph work and make sense? I think so, but like Jimmy Butler, look, Jimmy Butler could be a bit of a handful. Like, he's found the perfect place. Miami is like the perfect place for him because Pat Riley's a lot like Jimmy, right? But, Jimmy, if he really does look to get out of Miami, which I think he should stay personally, I think that that's probably still his best chance and kind of put pressure. And maybe this is his way of putting pressure on the front office and Pat Riley and stuff to start making some moves, right? It's like, dude, I've taken you to 2 finals, right? I need more talent. We're right there. I could take you to another one, but I want to win this time, right? Like, how many finals are we going to go to? And you're just going to keep giving me, Bam, and a bunch of role guys, right? Like, I know he likes, guys like Tyler Hero and stuff like that, but I'm sure he likes winning more, right? And I'm sure he's looking at it as like, dude, like, can we make some moves so that way so I can try to win a championship here, right? So it's just, it's a tough spot for Miami to be in. I think it's a tough spot for Jimmy Butler to be in. But also just his age. Like, if Jimmy Butler was like 28, I think there would be a ton of teams kind of lining up to try to go and acquire him. But at 35, by the time he's ready to be traded, it's just like, and he's been dealing with a bunch of injury issues and injury concerns. And it's just like, how many teams are lining up to trade for a guy that's making 40 plus million, unless he's willing to take like a steep discount, which, like, I don't see him taking 25, 30 million a year, right? Like, why would he do that when, he could just opt in to that 52 million and then kind of force a trade, demand a trade and, be like, oh, hey, get me something. Do you work out like a sign and trade with one of these teams that have cap space? But even then, it's like, what team are you going to? Does he go to like the Spurs maybe to play alongside Wemby? But even then, it's like, okay, like maybe that's the play, right? Maybe you keep Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes and you work it out to go get Jimmy Butler, right? Maybe you even trade for Jimmy Butler. Like, do you trade Keldon Johnson and like Zach Collins? Like, maybe, right? And go get Jimmy Butler. And now you got, Chris Paul, Vassell, Butler, Barnes, and Victor. I mean, that's not bad. I don't know. It's really, to me personally, I think it's just hard to gauge like what the market would look like for Jimmy. Would he really leave Miami, right? Especially when he's kind of found his place, kind of found his home, right? Like, I know some people point to like the Pat Riley comments and stuff, but that's like, Jimmy loves that stuff. Like, Jimmy's not like I just don't see like that bothering Jimmy. Like, Jimmy's a big S talker too, right? Like, he said some stuff, and then all, what was it? Something along the lines of like, like, oh, if I was there, we would have won or whatever, but, and it's just like, Pat Riley being like, the guys that not playing, I'm paraphrasing, but like guys that aren't playing shouldn't talk or whatever, right? You think that really bothered Jimmy that much? Nah, he was probably like, all right, watch. Like, like, that's just, Jimmy's a different breed, right? So I don't really look at that as like that spoiled the relationship or anything like that. I just think I think one, it's probably trying to put pressure on Miami to get something done. And I think two, it's probably just like, hey, like, what are my options out there? I want to win a championship. I'm going to be 35. Like, it'd be nice to try to work something out. That's kind of how I look at it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you look at this and go, yeah, like Jimmy, he's on his way out. He's gone. What team would you like to see Jimmy end up on? However feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.